There you go.
Yeah.
All right, good evening and welcome to the City of Sunbury Council meeting. It is January 15th, 2025, 7:30 p.m. Would you please join me in a moment of silent prayer and the Pledge of Allegiance? Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Mayor St. John.
Here.
Mr. Capel.
Here.
Strayer. Here. Mr. Ghost.
Here.
Mr. Grumney.
Here.
Mr. Martin.
Here.
Mrs. Cooper. Here. 7 present. We have quorum.
And for those of you watching online, I'm going to attempt to speed read this evening. Our heat's not working that effectively. It's around 60 degrees. We open up the door as Mrs. Cooper suggested to warm it up in here. Meeting on January 8th, looking for an approval or a motion on the minutes.
So moved.
We've got a motion by Mrs. Cooper, second by Mr. Martin. Discussion?
The only thing is a typo, and I already said something to Amber, but if you're gonna vote on the minutes, it needs to be said in here to change the minutes. But I asked for a moment of silence, not a moment of silent. And she used the automatic fixer upper when she's typing and it changed the word to silent instead of silence. So.
You just wanted one moment of silence.
Silent.
Understood. Let the record reflect.
That corrected.
Roll call.
Mrs. Cooper.
Yes.
Mr. Martin.
Yes.
Mr. Grumney. Mr. Ghost.
Yes.
Mayor St. John.
Yes.
Strayer.
Yes.
Mr. Capel.
Yes.
7 yeas. Minutes passed.
We're on the visitor section. Are there any visitors that would like to speak with City Council? Thank you. We're on the committee reports. Ms. Dreyer,
I have none.
Mr. Grumney.
Yes, we had our monthly finance committee meeting and Mr. Hennessy did a heck of a job walking us through the wastewater treatment plant financing. Had a very logical and nicely put together spreadsheet for us to follow with regard to costs. Talked about the different financing options, 30 versus 45 years, and the common components to go into each one of those options. And, you know, it really highlighted what I've heard the mayor say, and I believe Daryl say multiple times, which is growth will pay for growth. And that's exactly what this plan highlighted. So council got some really good information, and I think we're setting the city and ourselves up for a nice expansion of the treatment plant that will benefit our city and our residents for years and years and decades to come. So thank you for the nice presentation.
Thank you. Mr. Capel.
Nothing tonight.
Mrs. Cooper.
Nothing tonight.
Mr. Martin.
The fire board had its start the year meeting this past Thursday. And basically was just getting laid out what we're gonna do this coming year. Our meetings will continue to be held the second Thursday of each month at 6 o'clock. And the only other thing to report is they're starting to get the layout and get things ready to go on building the new building. They won't be buying a bunch of new equipment for the new building. They'll be moving some of the equipment they have at this location, particularly the emergency response equipment for accidents along the freeway and that kind of stuff. That stuff is used out at 71 more than anywhere else. So that's what's going to go into that new fire department. So
Great. Thank you very much. All right, Mr. Ghost.
Nothing to report.
All right. We're on to the police report. Sergeant Holden.
Thank you, Mayor. So I'm going to start with flock cameras. The flock camera systems have been installed in 3 locations around the city. These systems communicate with the other agencies' systems and alert the presence of wanted persons and vehicles entering and exiting the city. I want to make people aware this data is only held for 30 days and it's not a live stream system. So it doesn't constantly record the system, the car. Investigations, Detective Smith's heading out of state to follow up on an extensive investigation. There'll be more to report on that when he returns. We've had one issue at our building. We had a drain backup that led to minor flooding in the new police department. Big thank you to wastewater treatment guys for coming down and using their resources to help us fix that real quickly. Street department, big thank you to them as well. They've been keeping our lot real nice and clean of snow and ice. Helps us keep emergency services rolling. And last but not least, our drone team has put together and researched a drop kit system. This lowers down a flotation device per se if we're trying to get somebody out of the water from the drone. Officer Ramirez will be in to explain more on that in the 2024 review and details. I think it's the first council meeting of February. I did say last but not least, but want to make people aware that we're getting an uptick in calls of juveniles that are out on bodies of water. So we have a lot of retention ponds in the city. These bodies of water are not safe to be on with ice. Ice typically takes 3+ weeks to form to be able to hold somebody's body weight. And that's give or take the environment. So if it thaws, there's weak points. We just want to make people aware to talk to your children and try to keep them off these bodies of water. We actually think we did have one rescue that we had to go out and get somebody out of the water. So I want to make people aware of that during the winter season.
Questions for Sergeant Holden? Great update. Thank you.
Got one question.
Yep.
Was there any financial damage to the police station at this flooding?
No, it was very minor damage, and the street department or the wastewater department got to it real quickly and was able to fix it. So there was no sustained damage of my knowledge, at least.
Thank you. All right, we're on to the administrator report, Mr. Hennessy.
All right, so just 3 quick items. State of the city address. You should anticipate receiving an invitation, a digital invitation by the end of this week. We will do mailed invitations as well. The other important thing to note again, though, it is a public meeting. It's open to everybody. So you don't have to receive an invitation to come. Anybody can come. So once you get the invitation, though, I would encourage you to share it with family, friends, neighbors, what have you. Try to get as many folks as we can for this event. It's on February 20th, evening of February 20th. The Charter Review Commission met for the first time last evening. In fact, we have a couple of members from the Charter Review Commission here. Thank you for coming. And they'll be meeting pretty regularly here, trying to get you some recommendations here sooner rather than later. But at no later than July 1st. So, and the final thing is, as the sergeant mentioned, snow and ice management. You've probably seen a fair amount of snow going on out there. I just want to note that our service team, I think we've got identified 6 separate snow events. So they've been busy here the last couple of weeks or so. So appreciate the residents who have been able to get their cars off of the road to help make that a quicker process for them and a safer process for them. But think they're doing a good job. Hopefully you feel the same way. But if you've got any feedback, please share it with me and I'll share it with them. That's it.
I'm gonna say for new and unfinished business, I think our streets crew has done like an amazing job. I mean, I see them at all hours of the day. I'm really not patronizing anyone. It's truly amazing compared to the other communities I've been in. I mean, their response and their proactiveness. So thank you so much.
Set on. Thank you.
So Dabrowski, engineers report.
Just one update on the report. Last week, we got feedback on the stormwater legislation, which is before you for a second reading today. We are currently working on some of the updates from the feedback we received with legal. So at the next council meeting, we should have the finalized legislation for you on the 29th.
Thank you. Any questions for Ms. Dabrowski? All right, thank you very much. We're on to resolutions, 3rd reading, resolution number 2024.19. We're going to remain tabled. Resolution number 2024.29, 3rd reading, a resolution authorizing the city administrator to enter into a maintenance agreement with the State of Ohio Department of Transportation. I'll make a motion to pass the resolution.
Second.
Second by Mr. Grumney. Discussion.
I think I did have one question. Maintenance agreement of the Ohio State of Transportation. On my computer, the pages are different, but let me see here. the maintenance agreement. I'll have to get back to you on that. I'm sorry.
No problem.
Yeah.
All right. We are looking to pass. Yeah. Okay, so we have a motion second. Roll call. Thank you.
Mayor St. John,
Yes.
Mr. Grumney,
Yes.
Mr. Martin,
Yes,
Mrs. Cooper,
Yes.
Mr. Ghost,
Yes.
Ms. Strayer,
Yes,
Mr. Capel,
Yes.
7 yeas, motion passes.
All right, second reading resolution number 2025.01, an ordinance authorizing the execution of a mutual aid agreement between the city of Sunbury and various political subdivisions with Delaware County to provide emergency police protection services. I believe the chief is going to speak to this next meeting. We have a first reading resolution number 2025.02, a resolution establishing a joint recreation district pursuant to the Ohio Revised Code, section 755.14C, and appointing trustees contingent upon the approval of the Village of Galena and Berkshire Township. First reading, we meet with the JRD Exploratory Committee next Thursday. Should have more information like name, and we still need to come up with a process on how to appoint the initial trustees. Good reading, none. Pardon me. All right. We're into ordinances, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right, thank you. No third reading in ordinances. We have second reading several. Ordinance number 2025.03, an ordinance enacting erosion and sediment control standards and declaring an emergency. That'll be coming forward to Ms. Odebrowski's point earlier. Next meeting. Ordinance number 2025.04, an ordinance increasing the user fees for the wastewater treatment system for the city of Sunbury and declaring an emergency. From our finance committee meeting, in order for these to go into effect, it looks like we need to pass the next two ordinances.
motion
this
to
point.
suspend the rules.
A motion to suspend the rules, Mr. Martin,
second,
second by Ms. Dreyer. Discussion, roll call.
Mr. Martin,
Yes,
Ms. Strayer,
yes,
Mr. Capel,
Yes.
Mayor St. John,
Yes.
Mr. Ghost,
Abstain.
Mr. Grumney,
Yes.
Mrs. Cooper,
Yes.
6 yeas,
motion on the emergency.
The motion on the emergency, Mr. Martin,
second,
second by Ms. Dreyer. Discussion, roll call.
Mr. Martin,
Yes,
Ms. Strayer,
yes,
Mr. Capel,
Yes.
Mayor St. John,
Yes.
Mr. Ghost,
Abstain.
Mr. Grumney,
Yes.
Mrs. Cooper,
Yes.
6 yeas,
motion on ordinance number 2025.04.
A motion by Mr. Martin. Second by Ms. Dreyer. Discussion, roll call.
Mr. Martin,
Yes,
Ms. Strayer,
yes,
Mr. Capel,
Yes.
Mayor St. John,
Yes.
Mr. Ghost,
Abstain.
Mr. Grumney,
Yes.
Mrs. Cooper,
Yes.
6 yeas, motion passes.
All right, ordinance number 2025.05. An ordinance amending the sewer connection charges to add a 5/8 inch connection charge, amending other connection charges and declaring an emergency.
Motion to suspend the rules.
A motion to suspend the rules by
Second.
Ms. Cooper, second by Mr. Capel. Discussion, roll call.
Mrs. Cooper,
Yes.
Mr. Capel,
Yes.
Ms. Strayer,
yes,
Mayor St. John,
Yes.
Mr. Ghost,
Yes.
Mr. Grumney,
Yes.
Mr. Martin,
yes,
7 yeas,
Motion on the emergency.
A motion by Ms. Cooper,
Second.
second by Mr. Capel. Discussion, roll call.
Ms. Cooper,
Yes.
Mr. Capel,
Yes.
Ms. Strayer,
yes,
Mayor St. John,
Yes.
Mr. Ghost,
Yes.
Mr. Grumney,
Yes.
Mr. Martin,
yes,
7 yeas,
Motion on ordinance number 2025.05.
A motion by Ms. Cooper,
Second.
second by Mr. Capel. Discussion, roll call.
Mrs. Cooper,
Yes.
Mr. Capel,
Yes.
Ms. Strayer,
yes,
Mayor St. John,
Yes.
Mr. Ghost,
Yes.
Mr. Grumney,
Yes.
Mr. Martin,
yes.
7 yeas, motion passes.
I bet if we were ever gonna do it, we could have done a consent agenda on that one. What do you think? Man. All right, ordinance number 2025.06, an ordinance approving the application of KCH Investments LLC to rezone approximately 1.353 plus or minus acres of property owned by Romanelli and Hughes Building Company, an Ohio corporation located on State Route 37 East, from agricultural residence A1 to planned commercial district PCD pursuant to the City of Sunbury zoning code. Reading only. Ordinance number 2025.07, an ordinance approving the application of Metro Development to rezone approximately 6.369 plus or minus acres of property owned by Northport Place LLC, an Ohio limited liability company located on State Route 37 East from not zoned to planned commercial district PCD pursuant to the City of Sunbury zoning code and declaring an emergency. It's also a reading only. Ordinance number 2025.08 is a second reading, an ordinance consenting to the preliminary participation with the Ohio Department of Transportation for enhancement to Sunbury Parkway Bridge fencing and other entry features and declaring an emergency. ODOT's requesting we pass this evening. Mr. Hennessy, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, as the mayor indicated, ODOT has asked, in order to keep them on schedule for the release of the public bid opportunity, they want to be able to get this in the packet. So that's why they need this consent legislation from us to do that. Again, we'll be an alternate and there'll be still some action that a city will be able to take later on in terms of making a decision about its plan to move forward.
I'll make a motion to suspend the rules. Ordinance 2025.08.
Second.
Second by Mr. Grumney. Discussion. Roll call.
I've got a comment. This, what it's gonna look like?
Yeah, so you've got in the packet is the design. I don't have the packet page. Yeah, as I'd indicated, it's a packet page 84. So that design was, worked on last year by a lot of folks. I think we took it through the services committee.
Committee, kind of, a working group.
Yeah, a working group, I think is a fair way to say it. That's right. It's, we want our sign to have a uniqueness to it. I know, sometimes maybe people have different views of the design, but, again, it mirrors the font. I think that is, consistent with the design standard that we put in place for, the other signage in the city. As we talked about, it will center over the drive lanes in both directions, and adding the cupola again is, I think, a key identification mark for the city. So those make it different than maybe some other signs that you might have seen.
And that was gonna be my comment. I know this is fairly expensive to do, but if we were trying to save money, when you're going 65 miles per hour underneath that Sunbury sign, that cupola, do you think people are gonna know what the cupola?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, we did.
I do.
It's a little late in the process to make amendments to the design on this, given the timeline of the parkway.
Yes.
Any other comments? Roll call.
Mayor St. John,
Yes.
Mr. Grumney,
Yes.
Mrs. Cooper,
Yes.
Mr. Martin,
Yes.
Mr. Ghost,
Yes.
Strayer,
Yes.
Mr. Capel.
Yes.
That was just on the suspension of the rules. This one's on the emergency. Motion by myself,
Second.
second by Mr. Grumney. Discussion. Roll call.
Mayor St. John,
Yes.
Mr. Grumney,
Yes.
Mrs. Cooper,
Yes.
Mr. Martin,
Yes.
Mr. Ghost,
Yes.
Ms. Strayer,
Yes.
Mr. Capel.
Yes.
Yes.
Motion on ordinance number 2025.08.
Second.
That's second by Mr. Grumney. By the way, these letters and these items, these are 8 feet tall. So, I mean, I know that you're driving, but 8 feet tall is 2 feet taller than me.
And Berkshire's done a really good job with theirs. It's decorative. It's pretty.
We don't mention Berkshire.
But
Mayor St. John,
Yes.
Mr. Grumney,
Yes.
Mrs. Cooper,
yes.
Mr. Martin,
Yes.
Mr. Ghost,
Yes.
Strayer,
Yes.
Mr. Capel,
Yes.
7 yeas, motion passes.
I'm just giving you a hard time.
I did, it's equally, it's equal, so that's all right.
First readings, none. New and unfinished business, Mr. Ray.
I have none.
All right. Mr. Grumney?
Nope. Nothing here.
Cooper, Mr. Martin?
No.
Mr. Gross? No, sir. All right. Charter Review Commission, Mr. Hennessy mentioned it in his report. Mrs. Cooper and I attended. We were the only attendees in the audience, but we have 2 of our members here, Miss Nancy Crawford and Miss Amy Berger. So thank you so much for being here tonight. They elected a chair, laid out a framework. I strongly recommended that they front load the work as much as possible. And they're going to try to tackle the most complex aspects of the charter review early in the process. And I thought there was a lot of really good dialogue. Questions like, how do we get feedback to council, and how can council, give us some guidance on these items? So Mr. Hennessy and myself are working on some items that we'd like for them to focus on. And if you have any suggestions or ideas, please funnel them through Mr. Hennessy or myself. But you're always welcome to attend their meetings. They meet on the second and fourth Tuesday of every month. For the
And they
next,
did have one member that was on the original charter commission, so
That's right.
that was, and he's the chair, so that was nice to see.
Randy Rents. That's right.
And we do need a meeting for the third meeting of this month, right?
I believe we do. Yes, we do.
Yes.
Inside,
I won't
outside,
make a
won't make a
motion to
difference.
cancel it.
Is it inside, outside, won't make a difference?
Build a fire.
Yeah, exactly. Last item, go Bucks. I'll make a motion to adjourn. Second by Mr. Capel. Discussion? Roll call.
Mayor St. John,
Yes.
Mr. Capel.
Yes.
Strayer,
Yes.
Mr. Ghost,
Yes.
Mr. Grumney,
Yes.
Mrs. Cooper,
Yes.
Mr. Martin,